Hi, it's Rich Hoffman here. So I made a couple comments, and people got a little smart about it. But let me explain a couple things. So I was dealing with, witnessing the protests. People upset about Trump and Elon Musk, and they're afraid they're going to take their Social Security. And you wonder where these people get these dumb ideas, because cutting into Social Security and some of these legacy benefits has not been on the target of Doge, and it's certainly not something that Trump is wanting to do. But you have a lot of bad characters out there who are trying to divert attention away from the true issues and get ground troops, dumb ones, to follow and give them ground cover for the corruption that a lot of people profited off of. So there were some really dumb people protesting at the Ohio State House over something that really isn't an issue, but yet you watch them and you're shaking your head like, why do they think the things they do? And what do they think is going to happen? And my comment to it was, a lot of those people, it's a Saturday afternoon, a lot of people should be working. They should be making money and doing something more productive than sitting around protesting over something that is not going to be a problem. I think the economic improvements that is going to come from the Trump administration will make people so wealthy. There's going to be so much cash infused in the American economy to be distributed over 350 some million people, small population amount proportional to the rest of the world. There's going to be so much wealth that I think people are going to find themselves saturated with opportunities that they can't even imagine as of April of 2025. So I watch these people protesting. I'm just shaking my head at how stupid it is. And my comment was, they should be working. They should have a job somewhere doing something productive. And a bunch of people told me, well, it's Saturday. Why would they be working? And my response to that was, well, McDonald's is open, Home Depot's open. There's a lot of jobs out there that are working on Saturdays, and they're working second shift hours on Saturdays, or working first shift hours on Saturdays, or working Sundays, or doing all kinds of stuff. But there's this silly assumption that your work week should only be Monday through Friday, and that's it. So the other part of this issue of expanding economy is this redefinition of what a work week is. Now, I like work. I think work's awesome. But I think it's also good to go do other things. It's good to go see movies with your kids, and it's good to go go out to dinner with your wife. It's good to do all kinds of things and go on vacation. It's great to do lots of stuff. But I like to work. And I think a 40-hour work week is an impediment to your economy. People should not be thinking, if you're the kind of person who is getting to work, like maybe your work day is 8 to 5 or whatever with some lunch figured into it, and you're barely getting there at 8 o'clock, and then as soon as it turns 5 o'clock, you're out the door, you got a problem. And we have a culture, and I blame the labor unions for causing all this mess. Well, I do not celebrate Labor Day. I think a lot of things that labor unions have done, like this 5-day work week, and dividing things up the way they have, they think it's all, well, you're getting paid time and a half and all this for any work you do over 40 hours. All those impediments should be market driven, and it should be for employers to figure out how they get their employees the best opportunity to get the best employees. But when you create a bunch of rules that everybody has to follow, well, now you've muddied it up and allowed weak people, bad workers, to get the same kind of benefits and pay that people who are high performers are getting. And it's a mess. And it really has been a mess. And you hear in people who say things like, well, it's Saturday, why would anybody be working? Those people should be free to go protest because they have all kinds of time in the world to go do it. Well, if you have that kind of spare time, maybe you should be doing something more productive, like working at McDonald's. Because shortly after I witnessed all this stuff, that I always complain about McDonald's, because McDonald's is like easy food. You go and you get your food quickly, and you're back on the road. So, but I'm trying to get some food after being at the State House, and I had to wait like 6 or 7 minutes to get the hamburger. And it's not a joke. It was stupid. It should be a minute and a half transaction. Hey, I want a Big Mac. You get the Big Mac, you pay your thing, you're on your way. Because I got other things to do. I don't have time to sit there in a line at the drive-through window because they're understaffed, because they didn't have the proper amount of people staffed. And you can't help but look over and see all the protesters at the Capitol thinking, well, some of those people should be working because these guys need the help. Instead, they have some stupid labor assumption that they're going to work a 40-hour week and not a minute more. If you can't expect them to do anything, and they're going to take their spare time and waste it protesting something that's not even an issue. That's the world that these labor manipulators have given us, where they've artificially tampered with our economic ability. They've created artificial constraints built around Labor Department mandates that had no business being implemented in the first place. And so, as far as I'm concerned, a work week should be determined by free market principles. And if you need to work to get your work done, if you need to do 80 hours a week to do it, you should do it. If you're in an important position, especially an executive position, if you're only working 40 hours a week, you're not doing enough. If you're not putting in the extra bits here and there, you're not earning your money. You should be, I think, and Elon Musk has said this, and he's done this in his various companies. If you're not doing 70 or 80 hours a week, you're not really trying. I don't think, especially if you're interacting with hundreds of people, how are you supposed to understand what all those people are doing if you're not reading their emails or following up with what they're strategically trying to achieve, trying to understand their position? I mean, how are you going to do that in an 8-hour day? It's not possible. But yet we've constructed an economic system that says that 40 hours is your work week. If you're a salary employee, and you're going to try and do the bare minimum because you're not getting paid for the extra. And if you're an hourly employee, then you're going to get time and a half or double time on Sundays for doing the extra work. And that, and you're going to be, and it's all built around compensation, not the considerations of value for what the work produces. And so now you have a whole society of people who believe that just because it's Saturday means nobody should be working. You know, it's productive time you're losing. Now, you go to, talking about drive-thrus, when you go to Chick-fil-A always has lots of good people on their drive-thru. They're working it. They're very diligent, and they get a lot done Monday through Saturday, and they take Sunday off. And you can't go get a chicken sandwich on a Sunday from Chick-fil-A. And that's a standard that they've created, and they've upheld it, and people are willing to value that, and they've worked their whole market share around that assumption, and great for them. That's awesome. But you know, between the hashtags, they really pull it off. They do a great job of getting employee engagement and getting a lot of product out the door. So it works. But whatever it is should be market driven, not rule based, created by a bunch of pinheads in the Labor Department that are attached to all these labor unions that are looking to do the least amount possible and get paid the most amount of money for it when they don't deserve it. So when people say, I'm saying, go get a job. If you have time to protest, you probably should be working somewhere. And the response is, but hey, it's Saturday. Don't you know what day it is of the week? Just because it's Saturday doesn't mean you shouldn't be working somewhere. If you've got time to sit around and complain, or you don't have enough money in the bank account, you're struggling to rub 2 dimes together to get a nickel, because it's just things are bleeding you out everywhere, because economy can be tough sometimes, and you're not doing all you can do to go make as much money as you can make, then you're not doing enough. And if you got time to protest legacy benefits that you think are in violation because you haven't spent your time learning about the facts, instead you're out there protesting for things you probably don't deserve to get. Benefits that you want big government to go steal from people who are working hard and give it to you because you're too lazy to go do it. And we've subsidized this kind of lazy behavior for a long time, and it shows up in silly things like that comment. Hey, it's Saturday. We're not supposed to be working. if you got time to protest, you got time to go get a job, and you have time to go work a McDonald's drive-through window, or work somewhere where they have a labor shortage and they're looking for help. It's much better to go do something than to sit around begging for something. And that kind of attitude is what we need to get back to. That's part of making America great again. And I think that starts with having a much longer work week assumption. 40 hours ain't enough. It ain't enough anywhere. 40 hours of work is an arbitrary, silly number that limits our productivity in ways that has been detrimental to our economic expansion. And it's a false penalty we have given ourselves because we've tampered with the market drivers of free capitalism. If people don't want to work for a company that's working 7 days a week, all hours of the day, they can go work someplace that says, well, we only work 40 hours a week, and we're happy to do like Chick-fil-A does and not work Sundays. There's room for all kinds of personalities in an economy that has various approaches to dealing with market saturation. But when you artificially create rules that everybody has to live by, well, then you've dumbed it down for the least effective people in your society and empowered them to be equal to those high performers. And you don't get to outperform somebody else because you're working 8 hours a week and they're only working 40. Like Elon Musk says, and that's why people are so mad at him, because it's exposing some of this. If you're not doing 70 hours, if you want to make an impact in the world, you probably need to be putting 70 hours a week into work, or 80 hours. And if you're doing an executive job, it may require you to do more than that to be effective. But if you're just turning around and going home at the end of a 5-day work week after 8 hours, then you're being disingenuous to the work itself. And when it doesn't go right, you shouldn't be surprised. And when your business fails, you shouldn't be looking for a government subsidy because you didn't do all the work you needed to do. And that's the kind of stuff that's wrapped up in these protests when they're out there protesting Trump and Trump's administration and Elon Musk, and this idea that we should be working more and you should be working harder when you're trying to take an economic expansion and compress it into a 40-hour work week. But then all that extra free time people are wasting on stupid, diabolical human recreation activities that are not good for society in general. Hard work is good at all levels of society, and more people doing it, the better you find that people are. But when you artificially constrain them and give them, maybe people shouldn't have that much leisure time. Maybe some people can handle it. Some people probably need to work more to keep their mind straight. Because doing something productive and earning money and having that money to apply to resources is good for economic expansion. It's also good for their intellects. And we need to be having more of those conversations than conversations about how you can compress expanding economies into a 40-hour work week when it's turned out to be bad for people in general, and what they do with their free time is wasted on protests when they don't even know the topic. Not the best way to construct your society. Should have many more hours of work applied in an average work week than we do. And we need to start having intelligent discussions about reforming the Department of Labor approach to how you define work. I think we need to revisit that. And more hours are usually better for more people, and it's certainly better for economic expansion. Anyway, it's Rich Hoffman here. Share, subscribe, make tomorrow a better day. If you haven't read my book, Gunfighter's Guide to Business, I think you'll love it. Anyway, have a good day. See you later.